But all right, let's go ahead and get into it because we have a lot to talk about. And we're going to go ahead and start off with this heavy hitter right here as far as most valuable players. So it's really been between two guys the entire year. It's been changing back and forth between SGA and Jokic. So, Josh, I know we don't have official ballots, but let's act like
We do.
we're NBA media members. So if you had a ballot, who is your MVP?
If I had a ballot, I was thinking long and hard about this. Like I was defending SGA for quite a while, like on why he should be, and he should definitely be MVP. Like don't get me wrong, like either one, I'm not mad at. Like it's like one of those like the Heisman when we were like Travis Hunter, Ashton
Yeah,
Jinsey. Like I'm like I
yeah.
don't really care. Like it's like either one deserves it.
Mhm.
But with this race, dude, it's insane the games that these guys are throwing
No,
back and
for real.
forth at each
Yeah.
other. And I think what's hurting Jokic is the losses they're building up. But with
Mhm.
SGA, let's get into SGA why he is gonna win. 30 almost 33 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6.3 assists. He's the top perimeter defender on the best defensive team in the NBA, probably the best defensive team of all time statistically. He's on
Yeah.
a 65 plus win team. Like all these things always go into why the MVP is picked. You know, narratives, who's on the
Mhm.
better team. Are they actually are they the leader of that team? What are their stats? And SGA fits every mold. And if Jokic wasn't having such an insane year himself, this would be a no doubt for sure, draw it up, unanimous decision. SGA is MVP. But I think why
Mhm.
there is such a split this year and why Jokic is probably deserves to win as well. Dude's averaging nearly a 30-point triple double. We haven't seen that since
Ridiculous,
Russell. I
yeah.
mean, obviously it's only Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robertson, Nikola Jokic, but Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook went back when he did it. But Jokic is doing that. He's among the league leaders in scoring, rebounds, assists, and steals. He's had monster games like the 61, 10, and 10. And the Nuggets are still fifth in the West, even though the supporting party around him doesn't live up to what they're
Mhm.
supposed to be doing. And then I was thinking long and hard about that too, like the insane year that Russell Westbrook had when he won MVP, 32
Mhm.
point, 31 point triple double. Jokic is doing almost the same things, and he blew everyone out the water. It was almost no question that Russell Westbrook was the MVP that year.
Mhm.
Nikola Jokic on the same aspect of it too. You know, he's doing this coach, but I just think the things around the Nuggets are kind of hurting him quite a bit. Like I think it's more people are looking at it as like stat padding and him
Yeah.
kind of adding on to when there's no one else to really get the ball from him. So for me, the MVP is going to go to SGA, but I think Nikola Jokic definitely deserves to win as well.
So your ballot, you're writing Jokic on your MVP, right?
Yeah, I'm writing Jokic on my MVP,
Okay.
but
Okay.
SGA is going to win.
Yeah. Okay. So
My case, my bad. With
no,
the
you're good.
Russell
You're
Westbrook,
good.
why I was making that thing is I think they finished seventh in the
Yeah, they
West
finished as a
when he
60.
won
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
MVP. So I'm like, oh, if he won it at that time while being seventh in the West with these stats, Jokic,
Mhm.
who is fifth in the West with the same stats and having probably more monster games than Russell Westbrook had at the time, I think Nikola Jokic for sure definitely gets to have a shot at that.
Yeah, no, and then of course there's a 60-point triple double he did against Minnesota, the 30, 20, and 20 game that he had. It's just something ridiculous. But okay, how I broke down this case right here as far as who deserves MVP. First, I'm gonna say this. Both guys, like the same line as you, both guys deserve MVP, but only one guy wins it. And I just
Mm-hmm.
think that both of these guys are having historically great seasons. And if it was any other year, they would be unanimous MVPs. They would. I would take SGA versus any other guy in the last 10 years, honestly, even including that Russell Westbrook one, just because what he's doing, 32 points a game, and then just very efficient, most 30-point games, most 40-point games, most 50-point games, and averaging 6 assists, total steals, plus minus. I think the plus minus, his was like 991, something like that. The next closest guy was like 300 away. And that's with him not being in 16 fourth quarter. So SJ was just on a different level. But how I, the main reason why I picked Shea for my MVP, so Shea, he is my MVP. I went to ceiling raiser and floor raiser. That's how I broke it down right there.
Mm-hmm.
So Nikola Jokic, he's a floor raiser because this team is definitely not as talented as a Thunder team, and he's doing more with less. Because I think you're the one that sent it the other day to me, Josh. Jokic has never had, what was it, an All NBA player on his team or All Defensive player on his team. It was
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines. And Shea, he's definitely going to have those guys after this year. These guys are going to get those awards. But I just think that from having 56 wins last year to damn near being on pace for a majority of the season for 70 wins, they're at 67, maybe 68 after today. I just think that just a ceiling raiser, that's what I usually lean towards. And that's what history usually leans towards. Look at what Steph
Mm-hmm.
Curry did. Look at what James Harden did. Even when Jokic, he was a 2 seed he was the 2 seed, then the 5 seed, then a 3 seed, I believe,
Yeah,
if I'm right. Then Joel Embiid, he was a 2 seed the year he won it. Giannis, he was a 1 seed those years. LeBron, he was a 1 seed those years. Not necessarily that it all includes winning, but I think since it's so close, I'll just have to give the edge to the person who has
yeah,
the most wins and the better conference. That's what I'd have to go to.
for sure.
But I
No, I
just
agree
think
with.
that oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
No, I agree with that. Like for sure, the better conference goes into
Mhm.
play. I mean, well, they're both in the same conference, but
Yeah.
being in that same conference and still being number one, um, in the West by such a large margin, and then
Yeah.
even having the better supporting cast and able to put up the numbers that you do,
Mhm.
you are able to put up in SGA's case, definitely pushes him towards becoming the MVP.
Yeah,
But
no.
what does this do for his career? Like, what does this do for SGA's career if he wins the MVP?
Honestly, it all depends on the playoffs. I'm not trying to be that guy where it's like it solely depends on playoffs. The regular season doesn't matter. But I
Yeah,
think we're at the point even before SGA was signed and sealed with his MVP. Even last year, we're like, we know you're going to get awards in the future. What is your postseason going to look like now? I think he's kind of going to be in the okay.
Russell. I
I
feel like that's what happened to Russell Westbrook.
yeah,
Like
I
he never had
James
he won.
Harden
Yeah,
that
they
kind of
James Harden, they won the MVPs, but they never had that playoff success, so it never elevated them to kind of like a higher status in basketball.
but okay, I'll
Where
say this.
where Jokic already
SGA.
has a ring.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Jokic, well, we talked about it. Jokic, he could be debatably a top 10 player of all time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anybody else is going to agree or think that's crazy, but we don't have to argue that right now. But I just think that SGA in the playoffs compared to Russ or James Harden, it translates a lot better. And there hasn't been, at least it's been 2 years he's been in the playoffs where he's dipped like a Russell Westbrook, where he's dipped like a James Harden, because SGA is still averaging over 30 points in the playoffs, great efficiency and high assist. So I'd say that's the only difference in my opinion.
Mhm.
But okay. Now that you're on that note right there, what if SGA, they just hypothetically they lose in the second round this year? So will that kind of like make voters like, oh, I shouldn't have voted for SG. I should have voted for Jokic.
Well, no, because I think if Jokic loses in the first round, like they're projected to probably do. I just don't think it makes a difference, honestly. I think this year for sure because if SGA they meet up with. See, it's hard for me to put on what team I think they would lose to.
Well,
Let's say if they meet up with the Clippers in the first
yeah,
round, that's gonna give them probably like a lot of problems,
yeah,
um, in that right off the bat. I just don't think the Nuggets, based off anyone in the West, I just don't see them getting out of the first round. Like and I know they new coaching change,
yeah,
players are injured. Jamal Murray, we don't know how he's gonna be like coming back from injury to play
hmm
against these teams. Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, pretty inconsistent. So I don't see Jokic
yeah.
even giving himself, unless he just goes berserk, like
Which
absolutely
he has
berserk.
that ability. Yeah.
Yeah, 39-point triple doubles. Like, like it's kind of like he averages that for a whole entirety series and they get to the second round. If he can continue doing that for an entire playoffs, then
hmm
maybe, or if Michael Porter Jr. somehow becomes what he was projected to be, like
Back in
starts
2019, playing
yeah,
as a
starts
KD.
knocking
Yeah.
down shots, or if like Aaron Gordon has those big games that he's been trying to have, or Russell Westbrook even turns back. He's been playing good this season. I think people are giving a little bit more hate than he should, but
I am. I'm gonna give him hate.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
but
ahead.
but with them, they if I just a lot of I see it's a lot of asking like of all these other players around him to step up. So I think Jokic isn't going to make a real case for himself either in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But SGA, I don't really see the Thunder. I don't see the Thunder losing in the second round, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make it to the end, and I think that's where them and the Lakers are going to meet up. And
Yeah.
that's going to be the real series. And we've seen the Lakers already beat them twice with both LeBron and Luka Doncic. So
Yeah.
I think that's just to be wait to be seen. And yeah, so I think SGA is definitely gonna make people. He's gonna show why he was the MVP until he meets like I believe the team that's probably gonna overthrow them in the
Yeah.
playoffs.